It's Monday, July 11th, 2022, and this is episode 261 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Mike, are you all settled in?
We're getting there. I mean, we're getting there. Every day, it's like a million things to do.
I'm sure.
I can't believe how complicated moving is.
Yeah, well.
I don't know if it's us or...
Well, especially when it's as far as you went, and this is not ultimately where you're going to be, right? This is kind of a temporary location, so...
Right,
yeah.
Well, we're temporarily at my mother-in-law's.
Yeah.
We actually looked at a house today that's like a half mile from her house, kind of on the edge of the town.
Yeah.
And it's real nice, but I don't know, there was a few things, that Lynn didn't care for about it. And there were a few things we really liked. So we'll see. We're starting to look anyway.
Okay. No chandeliers? Is that the problem? It didn't have any chandeliers?
No, it did have a chandelier.
Oh, okay. So that wasn't the deal breaker.
Sunroom. I mean, an awesome room that overlooked a woody area, and it was really super nice in that. But the rooms were a little choppy. There were a lot of walls.
Okay.
And our old house was, kind of wide open.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you'll get into a routine. Have you been to any casinos yet?
No, but
okay.
As a matter of fact, we talked about that. We're getting to the point where every day we don't have as much to do. And so we might make a trip up to the Dells or down to Iowa in the very near future.
All right, good. Well, good luck when you go, and I'm sure you'll talk about it on a future episode.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to the show. So some breaking news out of Macau. The Macau casinos are going to shut down for a week, beginning Monday, the day that this episode drops, due to a COVID-19 outbreak. And Mike, this was interesting. I didn't realize this. It said Macau is facing its first sizable outbreak of the pandemic.
Right.
So they've been...
It's funny because Hong Kong had a big outbreak.
Yeah.
I would have thought Macau would too.
I guess,
not.
Macau, like a lot of destinations, shut down when the outbreak first happened. But they must have been, I guess, pretty careful. And right now, the rules are pretty strict, right? The casinos are closed. The only necessary things like markets and stuff are open.
Right.
And if you're out in public, if you're an adult, you have to have an N95 or better mask. And, they're going to crack down on that kind of thing. In Macau, they've got police through the streets, checking for this thing. So they're really taking it seriously.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a problem. This new variant, the 0.5 one.
Yeah.
That's bad. I guess it's getting worse in Southern California, too.
Well, it's interesting.
What I've read here.
It's interesting you say that because Sherry and I have noticed way more people wearing masks. Now, still most people don't wear masks.
Right.
But we've definitely seen an increase here just within the last week or so. Yeah.
Well, we went into La Crosse a couple days ago for some shopping. And Mark, I didn't see anybody wearing a mask.
Yeah.
But I was telling Lynn when we got home, I'm reading about this, new variant. And I'm telling Lynn, I think I probably should have been wearing a mask.
Maybe you should have been. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that, Lynn and the girls, they're probably okay. But I probably should have been wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. If we go to the casino, what's it going to be like?
Right, yeah. All right, well, a week. That's what they say, a week. So supposedly these casinos are going to open up. And they've been struggling. I mean, they had a little bit of a comeback. But obviously, those casinos and hotels, that's pretty much the economy of Macau. And, so obviously this is going to hurt a little bit. And we'll see, if they can rebound once again.
I wonder how they picked a week.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it didn't say, until the cases slow down, or they just said a week.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It might be more than a week. So
yeah, who knows? It might be politicians. It might be health organizations. There wasn't a lot of information in the article other than it was happening. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a lot of phone calls. I know we've been kind of putting them off after my trip to Vegas, and then we talked about your move last week. So let's clear out all the voicemails. Mike, what do you think?
There you go. Let's do them all.
All right. Sounds good. But first this. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right. First up, we haven't heard from him for a while. Let's hear from Ian from Leicester.
Mark, Dr. Mike, hello. It's Ian Dunk from Leicester in England, back in the beautiful land of Las Vegas. Just wanted to give my observations on Roll to Win craps. I was looking forward to playing that, but we didn't. I've observed that the tables are just completely devoid of all atmosphere. I think that's because everybody has their own terminal, and therefore you end up playing as an individual rather than having that crowd and that camaraderie with people high-fiving. I saw people winning, and they just kept very much to themselves. So, there was no cheering and no real fun. I noticed the stick man on various occasions, or stick woman, totally disengaged, yawning. They have to press a keypad after each roll. I think because there's no crew, there's no team, there's no team feeling. And I think that, again, saps away the atmosphere. And in my view, I think managers at casinos are missing the point. We all know that gambling over time, generally, you are going to lose. Despite what we all say, we are going to lose. But it's not just the physical thing of gambling. I mean, we can all gamble on our smartphones. Very boring. But to be there, to be high-fiving, to be cheering, that's the bit that's missing. And that's what I think gets people involved in gambling. It's the bigger event, not just the actual physical gambling itself. So it's very sanitized, and I really didn't find any reason to play that game. There's no question the proper craps tables are better. But I think, again, managers are missing the point. They need low roller bets because that gets people involved at a very early age or very early in their gambling. So just wondering what your thoughts were, but in my opinion, Roll to Win craps, rubbish. Speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Mike, have you actually ever played at a Roll to Win craps table?
No, I have not.
That, yeah. I
agree with Ian 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's very sterile.
Yeah.
I know they're new. The tables are new and stuff, but they even look sterile. It's not like you walk up to this old table with a craps felt that's kind of used, and you can see where somebody, cigarette ashes fell on the table.
Right.
And the camaraderie is not there at all because you cannot see really what other people are betting.
Right. I mean, you could kind of look at their terminal if you could see it. And
there is some next to you.
Yeah, there's some animation on the table, but it doesn't really show where people are betting. Yeah, especially on payouts. On a real craps table, you're seeing everybody get paid out. It's like, oh, nice hit on that 6, or oh, good, you had the hard way, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know if somebody's up their bet to some large amount or just hit $100 hard way. So there's no cheering. You don't look across the table at the shooter and, hey, that was great, because they may have not won on that roll. You don't know how they're betting.
What do you think of this? I think there's actually more camaraderie at a shoot to win table, bubble craps.
Right.
There's something about the way everybody is kind of situated around it. Right. I don't know. You're not that much farther away, but there's maybe something here. I have played on Roll to Win a couple of times, and it was because there wasn't a spot open at the regular table, and I just wanted to play something while I was waiting for a spot.
Right.
But I would say this. My favorite, of course, is a real regular craps table. Next would be the individual bubble craps that, I fell in love with at Biloxi. I can't really explain why. Next would be the shoot to win community bubble craps machine, and then finally Roll to Win.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Well, Mike, it might become a moot point because, like we said, when we went to Vegas, the Roll to Win tables were disappearing. There's been these controversies about them. So it might not even be an issue anymore.
Right.
We might not even have an opinion on it because they might go away. So we'll see. But yeah, I was kind of excited when these came out, and we did get some positive reviews from people. And I will say that it's probably a pretty good tool to use for newbies, when they want to learn the game and they don't want the pressure of, doing something wrong or what have you. That's okay, right? But yeah, I agree. The whole, it's not just the game of craps, it's the whole experience of a craps table in a casino.
Right. If you want to sit somewhere and gamble all by yourself and, have no interaction with people, go find a slot machine that's empty somewhere in a corner. Right. I mean, you can do that all the time. I think most of the people coming to a craps game are there for the interaction, the community, and the kind of, cheering and stuff. Right.
Yep.
You hear a lot of cheering from a craps table typically.
Yeah. That's probably more than any other table at the casino. Sometimes roulette.
More than any other table.
Blackjack,
sometimes roulette.
It's mostly
sometimes
craps.
blackjack. But when it's blackjack, it's one person cheering, right?
That's true, unless it's some kind of bonus that everybody at the table won or something. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's usually like one person excited they got blackjack with a big bet.
Right, yeah.
Craps, when something good happens, the whole table erupts.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey guys, Pete the Point from Indianapolis. Hey, I had the opportunity to play at the Hard Rock in Cincinnati. It's not my first time at the property. It used to be the Jack and was originally the Horseshoe. But hey, they have a prop bet on the craps table called the 6-string. You have to hit the 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 before the 7, and it pays 12 to 1. A couple others on the table as well. Fab 4, 2, 3, 11, 12 before the 7 pays 70 to 1. A bet called the 10 or 10, 80 to 1, basically an all bet, and almost 9. You have to hit 9 out of the alls, and that pays 21. That seems like a financial disaster. But hey, it leads me to 3 questions. Number 1, what's the house edge for the 6-string and the Fab 4? Do all the Hard Rocks have these bets? And lastly, any other casino-specific prop bets outside the usual all tall and small, repeaters, fire bet, etc.? All right, thanks for all you do, guys.
Okay, so just to go over these bets again, altogether, it's kind of like all tall, small, except different numbers, right? Altogether, these bets are called the Hard Rockin' Dice. And Rockin' is spelled ROCK''N. Hard Rockin' Dice. And as far as I can tell, Hard Rock Casino Cincinnati is the only casino anywhere that offers these bets.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Yeah. And in fact, the Wizard of Odds doesn't even have a page devoted to it, with an analysis or anything. So I went ahead and did the analysis myself. I'd like anybody who would like to check my math, please, by all means, do so. But I think I got it right. I'm pretty sure I got the math right on this. So just to review it, there are 3 different bets.
We'll have Todd check it out.
Okay, yeah, maybe, Todd Goddess maybe can check this. So
check it out, yeah.
3 separate bets. There's the 6-string, the Fab 4, and the tenor. So you've got kind of a musical theme going, with the names of these, right? So the 6-string is if all the box numbers hit before a 7. So in other words, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. If all of those hit before a 7, it pays 12 to 1. The Fab 4 is just the horn numbers. So if 2, 3, 11, and 12 all hit before a 7, the Fab 4 bet pays 70 to 1. And then here's where it gets a little interesting. Okay, the tenor is kind of like the all bet. But the difference is, not only does it pay when all 10 numbers hit, it also pays if only 9 numbers hit. And, think of how many times, Mike, you've been on the all and you're 1 away.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, the nice thing about this is if you get that 9th number, it's like, okay, you're going to get paid no matter what, and you can hope for a 10th. Basically, it's all the numbers except 7, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If all of them come up before a 7, the tenor pays 80 to 1. If only 9 come up before the 7, the tenor pays 20 to 1. So you can see it's less than the all pays, but that's because it pays when only 9 hit, right?
Right. Well, he didn't say what the minimum. I'd be curious to find what the bet on that is.
I would
think, minimum max.
Yeah, since this is really the only casino that has it, I would think it'd be comparable to all tall small, right? Because the payouts are kind of similar.
Right.
But yeah, it didn't say. I didn't see anything on the website either that said the minimum or the maximum. But anyway, I ran the numbers. The 6-string, I come up with a 19.4% house edge. The Fab 4, I come up with a 19.6% house edge. And the tenor, I come up with an 18.4% house edge. Those are very close to the all small tall house edges too. Again, depending on what the all tall small pays. But yeah, it's very common. 20%, it's horrible, but that's how it is pretty typically with side bets.
Well, maybe they found a way to offer something similar to all tall, all small without having to pay for the licensing to get that all tall, all small.
Right, especially since it's called Hard Rockin' Dice at the Hard Rock Casino. So yeah, it's very possible that somebody in-house came up with it.
Yeah, and that's maybe why you don't see it anywhere else, right?
Yeah, it could be. But even at other Hard Rocks, this is the only casino I know of, or at least I was able to find, that has this Hard Rockin' Dice bet. Now, Pete was asking, do we know of any other casino-specific craps side bets other than kind of the common ones. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I know we've seen some in the past where you could like place a hard six. Actually place a hard six. You get paid if a hard six came up before a seven, not before like an easy six or something. And other things where...
What's the one Barona has?
Barona
the
has
sharpshooter.
The sharpshooter's like a fire bet, except the points don't need to be unique. Yeah.
Right. You don't see that very many places.
Yeah. There are others where it's like you have to hit every combination of certain box numbers, and then you get paid. Like if you hit the 1-3 and the 2-2 on the 4, and then you hit another one, like the 4-5 and the 6-3 on the 9. As long as you hit like 2 points, you get paid. I can't remember what the name of it is, but those are really the only ones I can think of. Can you think of any other?
No, I can't. The dealers have enough to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd imagine a casino doesn't want to overwhelm them too much with extra side bets that could happen on any roll, right?
Right.
I mean, the fire bet's easy because you make that at the beginning and then you just deal with it at the end.
And all small tall is easy too, even though dealers in the box, sometimes they forget to mark the number. But the concept is very simple. So you want something that pays really well, but that's not too complicated. And
the repeater is one of those ones that is a little more complicated because you have to, there's a lot going on there. They got to mark it, and sometimes they forget. Was that the third 8 or the fourth 8?
Right, yeah, that happens even more than the all tall small, yeah.
Right, and that slows the game down, and also, that can get paid in the middle of a roll a lot more frequently than the other bets.
Yeah, that's true too.
So that kind of slows it down.
That's true.
But other than that, I don't think casinos are real big into too many side bets on craps.
No, I think, the big ones are, like you said, fire bet and all small tall. And a lot of places offer both of those now. So I think those are the ones that are going to end up passing the test of time. So
right. And I think they're good. I think there's enough interest in those two bets without burdening the game too much.
Right. Yeah, I agree. All right. Next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Kyle calling in from Salt Lake City. Just a brief report from my trip to the Vegas Strip on June 18th and 19th. I played at the Cosmo, a $25 min. I'm usually a pretty conservative, risk-averse player, so I was just playing the pass line with single odds. 25 is a little rich for my taste, so I just thought, what the heck? But some decent rolls from the first couple of people, and I, of course, 0.7 out immediately. But then the woman next to me rolls for a solid half an hour, hitting, I want to say, at least 5 points. I bought in for 250, left with 580 after about 45 minutes. I know I could have gotten more with some place bets or come bets, but I can't really bring myself to do it at a $25 table. But I also went to a $15 table at Excalibur and bought in for 250. I was playing, again, table min, single odds with 2 or 3 place bets. And eventually I was down to my last $6. Then the dice went to an older gentleman who went on to have quite a run. Must have rolled for 30 to 40 minutes. He was hitting a bunch of field numbers and was making the guy next to him loads of money since he was betting 200 to 300 on the field every roll. The shooter would do the thing where he says, what number do you want this time? And someone yells 10, and then he throws a 10. So just crazy stuff like that. Ultimately, I recouped all my losses and cashed out for $249 after about an hour and a half. But the interesting part of the story is the pit boss / boxman, an older guy in his 70s, it appeared, being incredibly antagonistic towards the shooters. He would call you out immediately if the dice flew too high, didn't reach the back of the table, and would only give you one warning if the dice bounced off the table, saying he would skip the next shooter if you did it again. He was a bit harsh with the dealers, too, telling them to pay out faster and keep the game moving. At one point, all the small numbers hit, but the dealers and the pit boss didn't recognize it until I actually told them. The table was pretty thankful that I caught that. Otherwise, nobody would have gotten their payout. That was a nice moment because the pit boss definitely felt embarrassed by that situation, and he needed to be brought down a peg, I would say. So all in all, it was a good trip. So I was just wondering if you encountered any antagonistic pit bosses or boxmen like that before, what you usually do in that situation, whether you leave or keep playing, and how that affects your mood while playing. Thanks for all you do, and keep up the good work. All right, thanks.
Yeah, when you've got a bad dealer, I mean like a rude dealer, a dealer that's in a bad mood, that's bad, but, you're thinking, oh, well, hopefully he'll go on break here soon. And
20 minutes, he's gone.
Negative but when it's a box that is in a bad, oh my gosh, that affects the whole table, right? And that's just miserable. We'll walk away from a table like that, even if it's going well. That's no fun.
Well, there's no reason for a boxman to be pissy like that. What was going on in his day that he felt like he had to give everyone a hard time?
Right.
I mean,
and Kyle mentioned that he was maybe in his 70s, and you hate to kind of be ageist, but we're pushing that, right? We're almost 70, aren't we? But you wonder,
I'm getting close.
You hate to make generalizations, but did he want to be a box at Excalibur in his 70s? Was that what he was looking forward to in his 70s? So that might have something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know this guy's life, but I'm just making assumptions here.
Maybe his significant other peed in his Cheerios.
Could have been some pee. Yeah, cereal related.
Could have been pee problem.
Urine. Yeah, could have been that. Yeah.
Well, there are days when you just don't feel good.
Yeah.
And there's more of those as you get older. Yeah. And so you're a little, grumpy, I guess is the right word. But when you get to a casino, who goes in a casino and is grumpy?
Nobody, Mike.
I mean, that's like, being pissed off that it's Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Oh, God, we got to open presents?
So this even applies to the employees.
Yeah.
You can't, there's no casino employee ever shows up to work grumpy because it's a casino.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
I go for
it's
that.
like
Sure.
Disneyland for adults, and that's where you want to retire, Mark.
Yeah, could be. That's true. I've talked about it. I don't know if I'll be a dealer, though. I'll be the TV guy, so.
The TV guy, yeah.
That
TV guy's pretty pissed off. He put on Star Trek instead of Star Wars.
Don't you know the difference? They're completely different universes. Kyle was talking about playing at Cosmo, and there was a $25 minimum. He was kind of lamenting the fact that, if I'd bet more, I would have won a lot more. But $25. Right. It was kind of like you and me, Mike, at Bellagio when you had that good roll on our trip. Honestly, you were saying it's the best roll you've ever had. Maybe not the best roll we've been involved in, but the best roll you've actually thrown.
Right.
We would have won so much money if we hadn't been playing scared because of how badly it had gone all weekend.
Right. We started off really slow.
Yeah.
And then I was hesitant to go up because I'm like, as soon as I do that, it's going to be, 7 out.
Oh, yeah. And
so I'm just collecting bets.
And you didn't even have any hardways, right? Hardways have been your staples. You hadn't even, you were rolling
if I had hardways on that roll, Mark, that's a $40,000 roll.
I know.
Easily. It's frustrating. That, to me, is the most frustrating it gets at craps.
Well, Kyle, we understand. We understand where you're coming from, but don't feel bad because it could have gone the other way too. So,
what would I say to you near the middle or end of a roll like that? I would say, why did this happen on the first roll of the trip?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, why
so we could be playing with winnings
when I had plenty of money. And
Yep. Well, the craps gods had other ideas for us on that trip, so whatever.
I guess so. Although, and there's another person who would look at that and say, well, at least you had a good roll.
Yes, right.
So,
and that person's right.
Yeah, that person is right. I just hate to hear that.
All right. Next up is Jess.
Hey, this is Jess, formerly of Northern California, now relocated to Southern California. Not quite close enough to San Diego to visit with any kind of regularity, but still nice to be in the sunshine and warmth now. I am on a annual family trip to Wyoming, and I drive and haul all of our stuff. So in the past, driving from San Francisco, I would stop in Reno and Wendover, but this time I stopped in Vegas. Well, just short of Vegas. I stayed at the M Resort in Henderson, so, just a little ways off the strip, but it was really nice. The hotel was great. It was a $10 table, and the dealers were fantastic. There was one guy that was learning, and the other dealers helped him along. And there was one dealer in particular, this guy named John, who was just so fantastic. Really adorable, snarky comments under his breath when other drunk people were doing rude things, but also just so good with the payouts. He kept track of the middle and would have all the payouts lined up for when the stick man would tell him to pay out the hardways or whatnot. It was really nice. And I had my best win ever, which was fantastic. Obviously, won 500, and for a low roller like me, that was pretty great. This morning, I went back and played again and had kind of the opposite situation, just didn't do as well, didn't lose too much of that 500, but still not well. The thing of note was there was a guy next to me that was just so rude. He was obviously on something or drunk, and he just was playing the field and just kept saying, give me my money. Where's my money? Where's my money? Like so fast and rude. And it just seemed like out of place. Everybody else was just chill. It was like 7 a.m. And I was just wondering, at what point do they kick somebody out? How mean or rude does somebody have to be before they'll just get them off the table? Love your guys' show, and I highly recommend the M Resort. It was really great. Thanks. Bye.
Good. Yeah, we keep hearing good things about M. You and I went there once, just driving out of town, just stopped to play a little bit. And
my brother really likes it a lot.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because I think there's two kinds of people in this world. The ones that love M and the ones that can't stand it.
And which one are you, Mike?
I'm kind of in the middle. I do love it. I mean, I like it there.
Okay.
It's nice.
I thought you said there were two kinds of people, and then you said you're in the middle.
Well, of course, I'm different, Mark.
Oh, okay. So 3 kinds of people.
You know me.
One category is just you. I got it.
Yeah, there's one category that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's serious. I've heard a lot of people who rave about it.
Sure.
My old neighbor loved it. That was her place to go.
Yeah.
She didn't have to drive as far into Vegas.
Right.
She liked that it was, quieter and there was a lot of accessibility to the slot machines she liked. I mean, she just raved about it.
Yeah.
And I hear people like the food there and stuff. But it's not the most exciting place, right?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you want, right? Now, when we go to Vegas, we like to be able to move around properties quite a bit. And, if you're there at M, you can get in a car, sure, and go, but it's not like, you just walk across the street or anything. So,
yeah, that's what I've heard a lot of people say. Well, it's too isolated. It's kind of, I hear that about Red Rock Casino too.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of out there a little ways, but people always seem to like Red Rock.
Well, and there are plenty of people who do like to go to a casino resort and stay there the whole time. So, it depends on what you like to do.
Yeah, different kind of gamblers.
So what does it take to get kicked out of a casino? It's going to depend on a lot of things. I've seen casino staff tolerate quite a bit. When I've thought, wow, I'm surprised they haven't kicked him out. Obviously, if things become physical, then that is almost automatic. It's going to depend on how much money you're betting too, unfortunately, right? If you've got somebody who's really rude, but he's throwing around money like crazy and tipping, they may be a little, more tolerant of that. But what do you think, Mike?
Well, I think, if you really want to get kicked out of a casino, if that was your goal, the easiest thing to do is be obnoxious and then have someone in the pit tell you to settle down and then not do it, not settle down or not do what they ask.
Yeah.
You get kicked out pretty quick that way.
And there's certain language too, especially if you're calling people names, that kind of thing that can do it. Yeah.
I almost feel like they let them go too far, that they're so lenient with people.
Yeah.
But there is a point when the pit finally says something, if that person does not immediately cooperate, they're calling security and you're out of there.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Remember that guy we saw get kicked out of, it was on
Are you thinking
one of those
resorts in Atlantic City? Right?
Yeah, resorts in Atlantic City. That was it. That guy got kicked out.
Yeah.
He was doing some weird stuff, but once they told him he had to leave and he just kind of stood there, then that was it. He was out of there.
Yeah, I think he had already been kicked out a few times. He was obviously on something. And they weren't touching him. They made a big point. You could tell he was about to touch one of them, and then it would have been, a free-for-all with the security.
Right.
But, eventually he did walk away. Yeah, that was a little scary in a way, because he had come right up to us like he was part of our group, and at first we thought he was. And then, as things went on, it's like,
maybe he wanted the casino to think that, too. That I'm with those guys,
Maybe.
But I know in the past we've seen some pretty, I guess, obnoxious, rude people who they give a pretty long leash to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's for different reasons and stuff.
Yeah. Are you a regular? Do they know you? They think, this is a good guy. He's just having a bad night. Well, I'll tell you what, Vegas Introvert on his YouTube channel, he's going to have the Annoyed Pit Boss on as a guest here in a few weeks. And he asked me to come on the show as well. So I'll try to remember to ask Annoyed Pit Boss, what does it take?
Right.
What's the criteria for getting kicked out?
Yeah, well, that'd be the person who would know, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose it has a lot to do with the pit person's personality.
Oh, of course.
Because some people just, whatever, he's drunk, I'll deal with it. And other people have a shorter fuse. So,
yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nathan from Indianapolis. I was listening to an older episode of yours, and it reminded me of a story. About 15 years ago, me and a friend went down to Caesar, Southern Indiana. We booked a room, and we're going down there. we aren't high rollers. We were just a couple years out of college at that time. So I think I took $400 or $500 to gamble. And we get there and check in and then sit down at a blackjack table. And I proceeded to win the first 15 hands in a row. And my friend was sitting there too. I think he won 14 out of 15 or maybe pushed on one or two. And we were just kind of both in shock because that had never happened before. So we stood up, cashed out. I was up almost $600. He was up probably $350 or so. Because usually blackjack, and as I win, I increase the bet each time by $5 or $10, just depending on how things are going. So, we stood up. We had been there about 10 minutes. We both were way up. And that was a lot of money, I guess, to us at the time. Kind of talked, said, well, what do you want to do now? We'd obviously taken this overnight trip just to gamble. And it's not like we were in Vegas where there's other stuff to do or walk around or people watch or whatever else. So, of course, we're degenerate gamblers, so we stayed and kept gambling and ended up losing all the winnings and, basically the $500 I took down there. When I tell that story to non-gamblers, they don't understand it. They should have got up and just left and gone home, I guess. But I guess that's not the gambler's mentality. So wanted to see what you guys thought of that. I'm sure you guys wouldn't have left either. And then the next thing, since Dr. Mike is going to open his own casino or become the gambling commissioner, when he does, I think he should enact a law for blackjack. Whenever I have a few drinks and I'm at a blackjack table, I always yell this, and nobody seems to agree with me, but I think it's a great new rule that whenever the shuffle card comes up, whoever is dealt that card, it becomes a wild card for them. They can choose and make it whatever they want. It's something fun to add to the game. It's not going to cost the casino much more money. It's not going to guarantee you win by any means, but if you want to make it an ace, you can make it an ace. As far as regulating it and the eye in the sky, you could have a little chart that the dealer has.
You got cut off there. Remember, Mike, in the 90s when the tribal casinos couldn't bank games and,
right.
Players had to... They did have a blackjack game with jokers in it. Do you remember that?
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't play it very much, but I'm trying to remember if you were dealt a joker, if you had to say right away what it was going to be. Like, let's say you got a 2 and a joker, and you're thinking, okay, I'll make it a 9. Does it have to stay a 9? Because say, your next card is a 3.
Yeah, I think that if I remember correctly, it had to stay what you called it.
Yeah, as soon as it came out. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense. The problem was, though, the dealer could also get the joker, right? So, that could be devastating to everybody on the table. But that was, again, back when it was player-banked games, and I haven't seen anything like that since.
Well, I do like that rule that Nathan proposed there. I would definitely love to have that. I don't know that it costs the casino much. Right.
Well, yeah, and it wouldn't even have to be a cut card situation. It could be just put jokers in there, kind of like this situation, and then
6 stacks with 2 jokers in there,
or even more jokers. And it's like, okay, if the dealer gets a joker, it's just discarded. If the player gets a joker, they can use it for whatever they want. And then the caveat is that if the dealer hits to 22, everybody pushes, right? Like those typical games like that. You'd have to go through the math, but it'd be kind of fun.
Well, you can't make it anything you want. Otherwise, I'd get a 3, and then I'd get the joker, and I'd say, I want it to be 18.
Well, see, any real card, I think, is what I was trying to say. I should have been a little more clear, Dr. Mike. Thank you.
I want it to be 18. All right, sir, that's an 18.
Maybe. I remember Bugs Bunny getting a 21 on one card once. So I think
he got a 21 and a half, too, at one point, right?
What? No.
There was one episode where he got a half
All
card.
right, maybe, but what is it? No, you see, it wouldn't make any sense in blackjack. Okay, yes, getting a half card is funny, but it has nothing to do with the story we're talking about, Dr. Mike.
Well, I don't think that Nathan's proposal is ever going to come into fruition unless I own a casino. I don't think that's ever happening.
Nathan's talking about, when you tell non-gamblers, oh, I was up, X number of dollars. And it's like, well, why didn't you stop? And, of course, we're thinking, well, the reason we got up that much was because we were gambling like we want to do.
Right.
And that's our enjoyment, right? So that's what we're going to continue to do. Now, it's different if there's a non-gambler who puts $1 in a slot and wins $1 million. Well, okay, he's not going to lose that $1 million, but he may still, play some dollar slots there. That's an extreme. But, if you're up $500 because you were aggressive at a blackjack table, well, a non-gambler wouldn't have been aggressive and wouldn't have won that money. So, that's the rationale that a gambler
every
uses.
Time someone says that to me, Mark, well, why didn't you just stop? You were up, 8,000 and you only came home with 500. I'm like, what? What? Do you hear yourself?
It was
non-gamblers have no clue.
Yeah, it was a gambling trip. That's why we went. I didn't want to win 8,000 and then just sit around the pool the rest of the time.
I don't know how many times I've tried to explain that to my mom. Well, we went there to gamble. We didn't go there to win and then sit in the room for 2 days. Seriously, to a non-gambler, it's very hard to figure out.
Yeah. Oh, and I understand where they're coming from, but
if you put them in that position, 9 out of 10 of them will just keep gambling too.
Oh, yeah.
You'll hear stuff like, oh, that's my lucky machine. I'm going to play that one again. Or, that was my lucky table. That was my lucky dealer.
Yeah.
I stood next to a redheaded person there, and that was lucky.
Yeah.
They all become gamblers after a while.
Yeah, Nathan, don't feel bad. We probably would have done the same thing. Lost all our winnings and all the money we came with. That's why we went.
Yeah, that's why we went. That's why you take what you can afford to lose.
Exactly. All right.
Because if you lose it, you're like, oh, it all worked out.
That's exactly what I had planned. Let's hear from our good friend Melanie.
Hey, Dr. Mike. Hey, Mark. It is Melanie calling you this time from Kansas City. I wish I had a gambling report, but haven't hit any of the local casinos here yet. The travels continue. Dr. Mike, I'm so delighted that you came to my little corner of the world and had dinner. I was so excited to meet your family, and it was wonderful. Your brother, Christopher, is an amazing storyteller, and I think it must be in your genes that you both got that raconteur gene for sure. I am curious, though, Dr. Mike, I have a question. I'm wondering if getting thrown out of the Texas Roadhouse, was it the way that Christopher asked for a tossed salad? I'll just let everyone Urban Dictionary tossed salad if they don't know right now, but that was my first thought. All right. Love the show, guys. Bye.
Sure, if you're in a public restroom and you hear from the stall next to you, hey, would you like a tossed salad? That's one thing in that context. But if you're ordering a salad and you're asking for it to be tossed, I don't think there's any other meaning there. What exactly happened, Dr. Mike?
And I think his words were, I'd like the whatever salad it was. And would it be possible to get that tossed with the dressing? And the waiter, he was new. And after that, we never saw him, so I assume he was fired immediately. But, he was the one that agreed that a tossed salad would be okay.
Yeah.
And it obviously wasn't. It was a big faux pas. We still laugh about that. My brother has a million stories.
Yeah.
He should have a podcast just to tell his stories from traveling
and
stuff. Some of them are seriously hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll just give people a little taste. Just one little taste, Mark.
Okay.
He has a story where he pushed a whole Anwar down Ventura Boulevard in LA for about 2 miles.
Uh-huh.
And a Saturday evening on the sidewalk.
It sounds like something out of Seinfeld.
Yeah, it is, but it really did happen. Someday I'll tell that whole story. It's hilarious.
All right.
That'll give you a hint about what kind of stories he runs into.
All right. Well, if you want to hear the whole tossed salad story, you can go back to the last episode when you were talking about your trip to Minnesota.
I didn't even think about another meaning for tossed salad.
Because you're actually talking about a salad. That's why. All right. Next call.
Hello, gentlemen. It's Jason from Michigan, checking in to see if you guys have been aware or on top of the Formula One Grand Prix that's coming to Las Vegas next November. They just announced it and finally got a date of Thanksgiving weekend. The reason for my call is I wondered if you could give any advice, possibly do a little homework, have an interview of somebody that could give some tips and tricks of how to manage that weekend. Formula One is like the second most popular sport in the world next to soccer. It should be a huge event for Las Vegas, and we are planning my 50th birthday celebration there that weekend and trying to figure out the best way to navigate this event and how to go about it. So just throwing that out, and then also just letting you guys know we are headed to Vegas in August and I will call back with the trip report after we get back from the Golden Nugget. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Yeah, it's probably too early to seriously start thinking about planning for this Formula One race because it's going to be Thanksgiving weekend 2023 next year.
And where are they having it? Do you know?
Oh, it's going down the strip, Mike. It's going to be.
Oh, okay. It's a road race on the real streets.
Yep, exactly. Formula One. All I can think of is that's going to be just a madhouse. I can't imagine the nightmare that the logistics are going to be for this thing. Yeah. Thanksgiving weekend, that's one of the biggest weekends in Vegas anyway. And all these people here.
How are they going to put up barriers?
Oh, Mike, I don't even want to think about, again, the logistics. So I don't know at this. Obviously, casinos are going to have deals. Come and watch the race, and there are probably some that, you get a room where you can see the racetrack from your room, or et cetera. Would it make more sense to stay off strip so you're not caught in, all the traffic and everything? Or would that actually be worse because it would be harder to get to the strip, if you're not already there? We don't really know at this point, and I don't think anybody does. Once more details
bet you have to wait till that summer.
Yeah, I think so. And certainly you shouldn't be able to make reservations at this point. Nobody would be taking reservations that far in advance, especially for a big event that not all the details have been ironed out for.
I can't imagine Formula One cars racing down the strip.
Oh my God, it's going to be something else.
Yeah, and then Iron Man shows up right in the middle of the race and has to battle some evil guy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Iron Man is a fictional character. And
I saw it in the movies, Mark.
Yeah, I did too. All right, we got one last call here. The audio is pretty rough, but I edited it down to, I think, where you can get the gist of the call. This is from Steve. He's talking about going to the new Bristol casino in Virginia that will eventually be a Hard Rock casino.
Hi, Mike, Dr. Mark. This is Steve from Virginia. I am heading to Bristol, Virginia for the new casino that just opened up here. I reached out and sent an email to you with a link from one of the local newspapers about it. Something in the article struck me at the fire bet at the new casino. It's a Hard Rock-based casino. Is offering $299 to 1 for a 6-point fire bet. And if I remember correct, and it has been a while since I played the fire bet, the last time was when it was at Parish Cherokee in North Carolina. Something tells me that it was at either 400 to 1 or 500 to 1. And I was wondering if maybe you could tell me if I'm just remembering wrong or if things have changed since they took the fire bet away and a lot of places are bringing it back. I'll give you a call back with an update on what I think. It is a temporary location in a former mall that got shut down. They have got slot machines, crap tables, blackjack, full slot of casino games, along with a few eateries. They are going to be opening up the hotel and expanding the gaming floors to this location over the next couple of years. But they're the first one that we have gotten in Virginia. And I'm a little excited. I'm just curious, your opinions on the fire bet and what I should look for that may be a little different there versus some of the others. I appreciate it. Thank you, and you have a good day.
Yeah, there was about 30 seconds during that call that the audio dropped off completely. So there might have been another question Steve asked us, but just couldn't hear. So Steve, call back or write back if there was something else you wanted to know. Yeah, so most fire bets pay $999 to 1 on 6 numbers. It's listed on the table as $1,000 for 1. That's the same as $999 to 1. That's the most common. We said here in Las Vegas this last trip, we saw $499 to 1 on the 6 points, but then they paid a little bit more when it came to 4 points. The last time we saw $299 to 1, I think it might have been at Downtown Grand. It was certainly downtown somewhere. You don't see it very often, but there are actually 3 good things about these payouts. Number one, since it's under the 300 to 1 tax threshold, they don't have to fill out a W-2 if you do hit all 6 numbers.
Which is nice.
That is nice. Number 2, you get paid if 3 points hit. Not just 4, but even if 3 points hit. Depending on the pay table, sometimes that'll pay 6 to 1. Other tables, if you're fortunate, it'll pay 7 to 1.
And that's really nice too, because you hit a lot of those 3s.
Yep. And then the third good thing is that on these pay tables, the 299 to 1 on 6 numbers, the house edge is lower than regular fire bets. Again, if 3 numbers pay 6 to 1, it's a little over 20%. And if the 3 numbers pay 7 to 1, it's a little over 17%. So that's better too. I mean, it's terrible, but regular fire bets are around 24%. So you don't see those very often, but it's actually better for the player on those payouts. Now I know, Mike, you really love the big payout on 6 numbers, but ultimately this is better for the player.
Oh, ultimately this is better. And if the limits are better, so let's say on that 299 to 1, what if, they let you go up to a $50 fire bet?
Right, and we did kind of see that.
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm. We did see that on some of these pay tables back when they had them in Vegas, where the maximums actually were higher. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably good for the casino, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Anytime you got more money on a terrible bet.
Right. And it appeases somebody like me because I'm thinking, well, I can still bet $50 and win a good chunk of money.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's $5. I'm going to get $1,500. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No question. So anyway, that's probably what you're going to see when you go there, Steve. I looked at the article on the property here. All they showed was that 6 numbers paid 299 to 1. It didn't show the other payouts, but typically you're going to see 149 to 1 for 5 numbers and 29 to 1 for 4 numbers. And then again, 3 numbers is either 6 to 1 or 7 to 1.
I wonder why they named it Bristol Casino.
Well, that's where it's located, Bristol, Virginia. It's like
I always think of Bristol as Connecticut.
Oh, it's a temporary location while they plan to open a full-fledged Hard Rock casino.
Hard Rock,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Too bad it's not in West Virginia.
Why is that?
So that's the only state in the union that my mother-in-law hasn't been to. That would be a good excuse for me to go to West Virginia.
Well, I'll tell you, take her to West Virginia regardless. Be a good son-in-law.
Yeah, maybe I should. I think we will.
All right. Well, we are scheduled to record 2 weeks from today. That is going to be the last day of Comic-Con. So I think our next episode is going to be maybe a day late. Maybe we'll record that next day. But I'm very excited to go to Comic-Con because we haven't had it for the last 2 years. So it's actually 3 years since the last one, and definitely looking forward to that. So I'm going to try to spend as much time there as I can.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll be here.
Okay,
and, it means nothing to me.
I gotcha, yeah. Well, we want to thank some people for some recurring PayPal donations. Jeremy at the Color Up YouTube channel, James, Kurt, and Robin from Anytime Gambling. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Michael, Karma donation for a weekend of gambling and having fun. Well, good luck to you, Michael. Also from our good friend Marty, hello from Reno. Love the show, guys. Hope you're doing well, Marty.
I'm glad we heard from Marty. We haven't talked to him in a while. And, I thought about him the other day, as a matter of fact. I just thought, well, we haven't talked to him a while. I wonder how the gambling's going.
Yeah, hopefully it's going well. Also a donation from Thomas. Here's to good karma for 2 trips to Atlantic City in July. Thanks for a great podcast. Keep it up. All right. Well, good luck, Thomas. Maybe you've already had your first trip. Hopefully it went well. And finally, a donation from Kevin. Let's go. Karma donation for Vegas. I promise to give you a trip report. All right. Let us know how you did, Kevin.
Good luck to everybody going on these trips.
Absolutely.
I hope it works out.
Yeah. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. Hey, Mike, I want to thank you for the Padres tickets here. You got some tickets before you left for July. Obviously, you weren't able to use them. So thank you very much. The family and I.
No, you're welcome. I'm glad they won.
Yeah, it was, we got there the first inning. Machado hit a 3-run homer, and that was pretty much all they needed. They actually, ultimately, I think they needed at least 4 runs. That was the final score, like 6-3 or something like that. But
6-3, I think.
Anyway, we had a very good time. So thanks again for those.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, Mark, I just sent you, I forwarded you an email. So you might want to check your emails right now.
Okay.
See what that says.
Let's just pull this up. Oh, look at that.
Me and my youngest daughter, Grace, are coming that August 3rd to San Diego. She kind of misses some of her friends. And so I told her, she's been pretty good about the move, actually really good.
Okay.
And I said, well, let's go to San Diego for a week. You can visit all your friends, hang out with them every day. And I'm going to check in on my parents because my dad's having a few issues. And then, the weekend of the,
I see that. It's a whole week. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that first...
I've got plenty of time that weekend, Mark, if you need a companion to go to, like, the casinos.
I think I do, Dr. Mike. All right. Oh,
yeah, keep that open.
So either August 5th or 6th, that's a Friday or Saturday, Dr. Mike and I are going to be heading up to at least to Harrah's, maybe some other casinos, but at least to Harrah's. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, maybe some others. I mean, I'm completely open, so thought you'd like that email. Yeah, we just decided a couple of days ago, and I thought, got to get down to Rincon. They're probably really missing me.
Well, and I think that's also a week that we would record, so maybe we'll do another live recording here, Mike.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's Sunday. We can do it right at your house.
Perfect. All right. Good news all around.
Great. Yep, things are going well for us, Mark.
Very good. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.